Hey, ScouterStan. Want to thank you very much for joining me here on the ScouterStan channel. Thank you so much. Keep sending me information and things that I can improve on. So, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the requirements for something that Cubmasters, Scoutmasters, even crew advisors will have already done. This is an award that recognizes them, and we'll get into the actual requirements, and then we'll talk about who needs to be filing this. Let's jump right into the requirement. First off, you need to have your service logged. Very important. 18 months is the requirement in the very first requirement of this award. New Cubmasters, new Scoutmasters, and so on, they need to be accruing that time, and it needs to be recorded. The second big requirement is to make sure that they have gone through all of the training, the basic training that's done online. They have to have their YPT up to date. They have to have any live specific training needs to be completed. Very important. That's the second requirement. Now, on that subject, I'm going to put a link up there. There is an actual video on getting trained, and every youth deserves a trained leader. The third requirement is to produce a schedule from a planning meeting. Now, again, I'm going to put another link up there. In fact, I'm going to put a playlist up there to go through all of the videos on putting together a planning seminar for your unit. Number 4, you need to have a succession plan in place so that when the Cubmaster moves on to be the Scoutmaster or an assistant Scoutmaster, when the Scoutmaster moves on to help out the crew. These are things that need to be thought about. And again, I'm going to put a video up there that we already talked about it. And this is something that should be in place. It's critical for the health of the unit. Number 5, this is very important. Cubmaster, Scoutmaster, advisor, skipper, they need to make sure that 60% of the youth they lead actually move forward in advancement. Very, very important. If they're not advancing, they're not doing enough in their scouting to do that, then there's a problem. So we need to go by that plan. We need to make sure that 60% or more, I would say 100% if you can, should be advancing. And that has to be within a year. So they need to move up a rank, or they need to move 60%. That's probably the toughest requirement of all of the other requirements. Number 6, having a good relationship with your charter. Very important to any unit. That is very important. The Scoutmaster, Cubmaster, advisor, skipper, all of them need to be talking with, working with, and being advised by their charter's organization rep. Very important. That has to be done. That's just good practices. In fact, guess what? Another video. I'll put it up there. Number 7. Now this should come naturally. They need to project a positive image of scouting. That's not that hard. In fact, all 7 of these requirements, I'm going to put them down there. That's a PDF that you can download. Very important to go through that and make sure that that's done in an orderly manner. Now, parents, Scoutmasters, and Cubmasters, everybody watching this video, please recognize the leadership that work with the youth. That's really what this award does. It is very important. After all the requirements are met, please go through that process of getting the paperwork done. I'm going to put the link down there. Please go look at the links. Very important. Yeah, it's true. The paperwork is done. Download that document. The committee chairperson does the paperwork. They make sure that the signatures are done. They make sure that that all of the dates are correct. And that's all put together by the committee chair. That's the one that's involved in making sure the paperwork is done. Now, for all units except Cub Scouts, there needs to be a statement, a written statement, attached to the paperwork from the youth leader. The youth leader in a troop would be the senior patrol leader. The crew would have its leaders, and so would the ship if you're dealing with Sea Scouts. The youth write a kind of a letter, let's put it that way, accommodation about their adult leader. That's important. It needs to be attached to the paperwork, and that's a critical part that is skipped a lot of time. You can't. It's part of the paperwork that has to be done. Now, here is the big kicker. All of the paperwork needs to be handed in to your commissioner. Your commissioner needs to sign the paperwork saying that it's completed and done. That's very important. A lot of units may not know who their commissioner is. Every single unit has a commissioner. If they don't, the default is your district commissioner or your council commissioner. So that's something that needs to be done as far as that paperwork. And I tell you what, now remember, all of these requirements are simple. A lot of these adult leaders have already achieved it. They need to be recognized. I want you, if you're one of those that have not been recognized, I want you to be recognized. It's very important. Recognition is a big part of us, scouts, scout leaders, scouters. Recognition is critical to helping others who have volunteered their time. You have to recognize them, and it's really important. This is something they've already have earned in most cases. It's just the paperwork that needs to be done. That's the kicker. I know you're a hard worker, hard volunteer like me, and I want you to get out there and make a difference. You know, we're changing the world one scout at a time, and I'm excited about what's coming up. So I'll tell you what, until next time, I'll see you on the trail.